welcome to everybody. I can't say good morning. Maybe for some guys it's already evening. For us it's in the late afternoon. So welcome to our session of the Ghent work group, creating files from non-designer applications. If you do have a question, please type into the chat window, and me and Carl will look into it accordingly, and if we can answer immediately, we will do. So I'm going to the second slide, okay, which is normally the agenda for today. It's getting a welcome, an introduction. What do we propose as settings to create PDF out of, let's say, the Office applications? Then we go live, and naturally, we give you the opportunity to ask some questions. So I present first myself. I'm Koen Degrande, one of the two presenters of today. I work at Igepa. Before Sagam, we were taken over by Igepa, and I'm working as a service engineer for Mac, graphical system, support for workflow systems from Agfa and Screen, Citron, and mainly I give also training consultancy about automation for graphical systems. I'm already for some while at the Ghent work group, and so one of the questions for there asked to me to look into how we can create a PDF out of, let's say, non-designer applications, let's say, graphical systems. I'll let Carl present himself. So Carl, go ahead.
Yes, hi. Hello, also welcome from my part. I'm Carl van Rooy, working for the VIGC, a Flemish knowledge center to provide the graphic industry with information regarding all technical information regarding the production flow. I started as a pre-press operator, pre-press body operator, production manager. I did some continuous improvement as well in labels, packaging, and also commercial print. And at the moment, I am an innovation consultant helping the industry to do some automation regarding pre-press and also printing and finishing departments. And also since 1 year at the Ghent work group, trying to do my best to help everywhere where needed. So a short introduction about the Ghent work group. We are creating best practices for publishing and packaging workflows to help the industry, because since there were some problems with the communication between the designers and printing departments, and there was a need to give some PDF education and also some tools and best practices to set up a very good PDF workflow. Since 2002, we consistently produce process specifications for PDF exchange. We develop useful tools for the automation process and establish content PDF for printing and publishing. We are an international organization made of graphic art users, associations, and developers. And the result is that we have make it easy for increasing number of professionals to create successful PDFs to exchange graphic arts files, and that for every kind of applications that you can find. I forgot to say that you can set your questions in the chat windows, and I'm going to follow them up while Koen is doing the presentation about the technical part of this seminar. Yeah. Okay, Koen. So we have some other, what we are not going to discuss today is the PDF standards on its own. But keep in mind that on 12th January, there is a seminar like this one, that is going to tell you more about all the standards that are available at the moment. So mostly the PDFX1A, the PDFX3, and the PDFX4 standard are discussed there, presented by David van den Dries and Christian Blaise. I think that also if you want to know more about those standards, that you should follow this webinar. And also, what is very important, the pre-flight and the controlling data, even if you make or use the application settings that we are going to provide today, it is also very important to do some pre-flight and the controlling of the data. If you make your PDF file with the settings that we provide, it is not sure that all technical issues of your PDF document are correct to be printed. So it's always very important to do a pre-flight and controlling of the data after the creation of your Word document or the document that is created by your customer. What we want to accomplish here is to give you a tool that you can send out to your customers with the information, so that the PDF that they are going to make out of those applications are more or less okay to give you some kind of PDF where you can work with. But keep in mind, it's not, even with those settings, it's always possible that there is something wrong, and you need to optimize your PDF file with your pre-flight data. Yeah. So where do you find all the information? If you go to our website, and we have some very good white papers over there that guide you through all those settings. We created the guideline for PDF creation from Office applications with an addendum. We are working on the final updated version of that, but you can find it on our website, and if you look out there, you find some more useful information, also all the data that we have to for our webinars and so on. It's also for live pre-flight, and so that's also something that you can find over there. Very useful and something that you should look into. Yeah. What we are going to do now is we are giving you a short presentation of how to export or save the PDF out of Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Set up the preferences, export, save the document as a PDF, and to do a pre-flight. And we have some example documents that we want to present for you. It's a Word document, an Excel document, and a PowerPoint present. We are looking to this webinar as a very technical issue, so we want to start with a Word document and give you as result a Word document, sorry, a PDF document from out of those 3 applications with the settings that you should taken care of.
So we're proposing, it's a document I received from a customer which I can use. It's a document of Microsoft Word. I can show, this is a little bit presentation, then I will do it live. It has photos in it, it has a background, there's some typefaces used. The text is in Dutch, but okay, it doesn't matter which language it is. So we will use that file to create a PDF. The PDF looks like that. When you created them and open them in like in Acrobat Reader or even in Acrobat DC. It depends on which version you have on your system. But important is here to know, maybe I will go one step back again. You see this is a document created and should have bleed, because we want to print it and then cut it out or cut it and receive a document like that to be printed. Frankly, in Word, we can't create itself bleed on the document. What we can do, we can enlarge our document, taking count of that 2 or 3 millimeters we need on every side to be cut off. So the final document is not like 210 large millimeter large, but normally should be 216. With this 3 millimeters, we can cut off later. So that is important to take account if you create something out of Microsoft Word and you want to have a document like that where you have a whole with one color all over the place on the background, to avoid to have a white line when you cut afterwards for that part. We put it in the pre-flight system. I used two systems which are known. Let's say one of the in focus that's on the left side, where you see, okay, there's an error, which is right. It's RGB which is used normally. And then you have also, this is not really PDFX4 compliant. Carol already mentioned, we want to give you a good opportunity to create a PDF, but it's not completely PDFX4 compliant because that you don't have the options with the standard, let's say again, with the standard possibilities of your Office applications. There are in other PDF creators, even one from Adobe you have, even one from InFocus you can have by Connect All, and the one from Adobe is when you buy an Acrobat or you have a license on Acrobat Standard or Pro, you can install a PDF creator also on your system. These systems are better to reproduce, but it's not what you will see today. Here we use the standard, again, the standard information already installed on your system or created. On the right side, you see the pre-flighting done by Acrobat DC, in which he said also, okay, I have an error, I have some issues, but frankly, this document can be printed and reproduced. We did it here on our digital systems in our showroom again. So as we mentioned, it has no bleed. It is RGB is used. Then we have a second document, which is an Excel file. I used also Excel because if you create reports, a lot of people are using Excel to create that. We did the same thing, open it in Excel, then saved it as a PDF. All right. Yep. But there's also another system which is mentioned in our documentation and which you maybe already found on the internet. There's also a possibility by Microsoft has out of Windows 10 a possibility to create a printer which is Microsoft to PDF. I use this one also. I already have there some remarks which you may already know or not, that say it's a good way to create your PDF also that way, but you're limited to standard output formats. Let's say A4, letter, A3, B5. These are the formats in which your PDF will create it. You don't have the possibility to add a custom for size in that matter. Okay, if you created the PDF, we did back again a pre-flight. You see we get a lot of more red crosses here, but it's especially because we get here some other things like when we print it, there's no information, no document title, for instance. The PDF, the document has no PDF IDs. Yeah, right. We did a print, but we created out the PDF. Is this product document not reproducible? No, it is. But again, it's against the standard, against the printing standards. It's not compliant to that, but reproducible, which is, let's say, in most cases, our concern. On the right side, I did the same thing with the Acrobat pre-flight. Acrobat DC pre-flight has also his own. So I always did both of them. I also had the Microsoft PowerPoint example, something like that. I searched for a template in which I could create an PowerPoint presentation. I found out something like that. It has some text, some images on his system or on the document. And if you see here what we do, we can again or save it, export it. On the left side, you see I'm on print, but you have also the possibility to save as a PDF or export as a PDF, or also do a printable PDF. Again, here you're limited to the size preferences which are marked in your printer if you use this one. But like I said, if I print it, and for that one you see, it's possible that the size of naturally my document is not respected. It's because I have to choose a standard format. Therefore, exporting for those matters, exporting is better than printing because then he respects the size of my document. Again, here I don't have any bleed, so you have to create it a little bit bigger, or frankly, I can say also, if some people are receiving that kind of a document and should reproduce them, a lot of them are scaling it with 101%, for instance, so they can cut off a little part to avoid to have a blank or a white line or a white space. Also, I did the same thing. I did some pre-flighting. For me, the best concern, what for me it is I know, okay, this image has only 95 ppi of the image pixels, so I can't have, let's say, a marvelous printout, but it's printable again, it's reproducible again. Same thing on the right side. I did it with the same for Acrobat DC again. The important thing here from that document, as we said, as you go here on that document, we have to go. You see on the left side, you have there a file. I can maybe show it another way. This is you starting again. It's not ready back again. I can maybe show it here. No, it's in Dutch, this one. Come on. So if you go on file, you have the possibility to do an export of that file. So I will no, I don't want to go back. There's a possibility to export these PDF and or export or save, because it's the same action you can do. You go to file, export or save, and then you choose PDF. The most important thing you have to pay attention, because there's a difference between Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, and also PowerPoint, how this reacts. With Microsoft Word, if you have the possibility to do export, you have the mark where you can say, please take my type font as a bitmap in my document. You can mark this option if you want to. Okay, I will do it now live. I wanted to present it on a Windows system. Why? Because I know a lot of people are using PC to create those things. So this is a document we presented before in our presentation. And if I do now, file, save as, or you see print, I can do print, or I can do export. So I will take export in account. First of all, on the bottom of your screen, you have options. When you go to there, you have the possibility here in your settings, that's a preference setting, to say, okay, what should he do? I go to advanced, yep, and then you have the possibility, okay, that has to be closed, yep. Then you go back more beneath. Here you have the possibility already to do some things according to the quality of your images. So I can put a kind of a default resolution. So if an image is higher than, and you do optimize image, then it will be downsampled to the setting you have here. I took 330 because I want to have, if it's more than that, it can go down to this part. You see here also when print, when you ask to print a document, you have here the possibility here that he can scale content if you use a fixed format, yes or no. So these things are mentioned here in the output settings, and then you have the possibility also to set, save the document. It's a little bit further. Oh no, it's on save. I'm sorry. Go back. Here we have the possibility to embed font in files. You have to know if you install that thing, let's say the Office application, by default, it's not marked. So this you should do to prepare in your document. The problem of most people are thinking when they are marking this option, then it's for all all the documents they will create now. No, you have to do it document by document, mark it again every time before you save it, or you can change your default template in your Microsoft documents, and there you can have in these option mark these possibility in here. What we do not do, embed the common, I do embed only the characters used. If you want to reduce the file size, this option can be done, but the other one, do not embed common system fonts. We did not deselect this one because otherwise he will add typefaces or fonts in the system which is not used in the file. So okay, I will do now file, export. You have here create PDF. You can click on the button, and there you see you have still some little options in which you have the possibility, even not possible to embed that font, create at least a bitmap of my text so I can print it out. What I can't do in that case is when I enlarge too high, then you will see that my text is pixeled and not net printed. So that should be done, especially because we know there's a lot of fonts you can install on your system, you find on the internet, and are not capable of printing be printed as a reasonable let's say quality, at a reasonable quality. So I will go to my document, or I put it on the desktop. It's not another problem. Here desktop, I have here webinar, the folder webinar. Okay, I can save it. I said publish, and it will automatically open it also on my Acrobat Reader. So you see here the document is 210 by 105. So I don't have here any bleed on my document. This was the size created in my Word document. So if I want to print it, I know, or I have to cut it a little bit shorter, or maybe enlarge it. I can do it because my document, my info is not very tight to the border, my photos, for instance, on that. So if I go by properties now, I go to look to my fonts, you see I have here, and it's embedded subset, so I don't have any issues to reproduce it. Pay attention, people. If you use open type fonts, yep, not all the open type fonts are correctly embedded in the file. It's because there are some issues with Adobe fonts, which were PostScript fonts at the beginning and transformed laterwards to an open type version. These fonts give sometimes not a good result in exporting. I tried with different TrueType fonts. I tried also some open type fonts, newly open type fonts you can download, or if you have an Adobe account. I didn't have any problem or issues to put them in. Only if you, for instance, have old typefaces, it can be an error. So if I close this one now, I saved it in that way. Don't save. I will open now my Excel. I have here my financial report, and I will show it as in the presentation. I have the possibility to do also a print. Yep. The disadvantage of Excel in that case that I don't have any options or just settings here, options. The only thing I have here is not quite settings accordingly to which which fonts I have to use or what. These are not in my Excel document. Or in the Excel preferences I can use here as an option. So this one I don't have. Therefore, in most cases when you do a print, you get the best result, even if you do Microsoft Print to PDF. As I already said, I can only choose a fixed format. You see here even more page sizes, and you can say, okay, I will create one, but pay attention, this is only here, as you said, as I see here, a fixed list, A4, A3, and so on. So I can't create for that part a custom page size in those things. The only thing here, you have the possibility to ask if it has to be fit, yes or no, if it has to be scaled on the page, yes or no. These things you can ask. You see here, it's changing immediately on my screen. So if I do print now, I choose here Microsoft Print to PDF file. Here in the printed properties, not a lot of things. If you want it on a portrait, it has to be printed landscape, and in advanced, you will see here, I want one copy, and the fixed formats are in there. But if you use a fixed format, let's say A4 or letter for or tabloid, then you can easily use this option to create your PDF. I will let save them on my desktop, and I will go back webinar, and I set financial report print, for instance. Okay, and I do save. I let them override them. No problem. So he created my 4 pages of my PDF. I can open it now with Acrobat Reader. Go to File, Open. And I will have here a financial report print as today on that time, 4:33 p.m. And I get my information printed on, created on 4 pages on A4. You see that on the left side, left bottom side. I can ask that in the preferences of my Acrobat Reader that also those things are marked here when I open it. When I look now to File, Properties, you will see that it was created by Microsoft Print to PDF, and my fonts are embedded here and subsetted. So I don't have any issues on reproducing that document. I tried it, as I already said, also on our systems here. So the last one I wanted to show is a PowerPoint presentation. it's a little bit the same thing. You will see here on file again, you have the options in which you can by save just say where it has to be saved, and I can naturally, as I want to here, embed fonts in my file, and thus it has to be completely, yeah, this is here otherwise, or just I want to use the typefaces in the document. Normally it should be like that to be the best, let us say the lowest size, so I can do file, export, or save as. If you want to see it now, save as, you will see here I can with here choose my PDF format, and I get there more options, but I come in the same menu as you go into um, export settings. Here we have again the possibility, if not cannot be embedded, please create a bitmap of it so it can be printable. You can mark also if you want to have the properties on the document, yes or no, and so in the PDF it's preferable to do that. And then we get standard publishing, and I do save. I want to replace it. I want to save it like that, and it will open automatically my Acrobat document, my Acrobat file, my PDF file. Well, okay, all right. He said it's already opened by another application. Wait, I will open it like that. Right. Here you see now I have my presentation, and you see here also the size of my presentation I created. So if I do properties now, you will see here, and this is now, as I mentioned, it can be a problem if you see in your typefaces Arial MT used. Yeah, here it's embedded, so this is a good one. But if it's not marked as embedded, that means that the Office application has used that typeface to be embedded, but it's not the real typeface in your creation. So for that cases, if you want to avoid that, you have to use, as I already mentioned, good typefaces. And a second part, if you want to try it to get a better result, it can be by using print. But then you have the disadvantage again that you only have the possibility of fixed size, and you have to look here at the right side and also pay attention for that printer, because in a lot of cases it's marked that he can scale, as you see here by default. So if it's scaled, you see here, if I print it now, I will lose a part of my document. So it can be necessary to go here by advanced and to choose not A4, but maybe A3, because again, fixed format in which I can create my file. So I have to print it or create my file like that, and afterwards I have to crop it, or in my Acrobat DC. I can't do it in Acrobat Reader for that cases. So I can say print, and I take, I say, okay, you can print it here onto my desktop. So, yeah, here a printable version, save. Yes, overwrite it. So these are possibilities to create PDFs out with the standard systems with the standards installed by Office. I only want to give you a short view here. Here you can have on the right top, you see here document clouds, Adobe PDF, convert to Adobe PDF. It's an add-in in your Office applications, but in that case, you have to have a license, or you have to say pay monthly amount of fee when you purchase an Acrobat DC or an Acrobat standard version. You can use this thing to convert your PDF files. It's a better way. I won't do it now because that was not the idea today, but you can use that one to create it, but it's not for free. Or there exists also in Focus Connect, in which a company or a printing company can create a printer in which all the configurations to embed PDF files or to embed fonts to get good typefaces, good images, and so on in the document. There are also third-party PDF creators which work fine, but in most cases, in all the cases, it has to be bought, and it can maybe installed as an add-in in your Office applications. Most big firms do that. We have that also in our firm. We have also a PDF creator which is not PDF compliant, but it's just a creator, so everybody on our network can create a good PDF to be printed, but it's not, as I said, a PDFX compliant document. So if I move now to my Acrobat here, and if I want to open one of those files which we have created, I can here say the hair time. Yeah, this one. Okay, I do open it. Yep. If I do now a pre-flight, I do it by my pit stop. I can do it here on the right side, pit stop process, and I do a pre-flight of my files. Yeah, I use now the Genwork digital cut sheet. Just to mention, it's a new standard to pre-flights, especially for digital printing. So that's why I'm using this one. And you see here, I don't get really errors on, well, just it's RGB, okay? It's created like that, but not other things. What he can fix is fixed. You fix here correct font, which can be, which also appears even with good PDF files. It depends on what we have, and it's RGB. So I can open also another one, the financial report. It was the print version we have here. I've opened this one. Yeah, nope. It was one I printed on another size. I do open. Yep. I don't think I printed this one. I saved it here, or I can open the print version of the template here. As you said, as we show here, it's an A3. Yeah, you see here. Sometimes I have to do that, and now I have to go in and crop my file. But the advantage is that I can use that file to be printed. Or if you use an imposition software, there you can put center, because the information is always centered on the chosen page size, and can be used to do that. So if I create this one now, run. Okay. Or if I do it, I will do it now with this one, maybe not only by using in Focus pre-flight, but you have also the pre-flight here, and I use here sheet offset, for instance, and I ask to analyze it to do my check by Acrobat DC itself. So you see some resolution and things, but RGB is used, but not other errors which can give us any issues on not printable, not be able to print that kind of a document. Okay, I will go back now to the presentation. this was a little bit what I wanted to show you. Again, it was the default information and the default installation of the Office applications. So I have to move a little bit further on to the presentation. So I don't know if there are some questions, and maybe I will ask now, Carl, are there some, and are there some things we have to take into account?
I have a question regarding Macintosh and PC. So
Yeah.
you showed everything on PC. What's the big difference between Macintosh and PC files?
Well, frankly, if we use it on a Mac, the embedding of fonts is better done. So normally, when you save a file, a Word, a PDF, or a Word, sorry, a PowerPoint file and an Excel file out of your Macintosh, it handles better the font embedding in the PDF file. I showed it as I already said, as in Windows. Why? Because let's say I think a bigger part of us is using of Office users are PC users. But it's important to know, because in the installation on Windows you have to pay attention which typefaces you install. By default, there are not always good fonts.
Okay, now I have a second question here. And is it possible to add bleed using pit stop actions?
Yeah, there are some possibility to go into. I can go to Acrobat here, and I have the there are some actions here which said will ask for bleed. Yeah, I can generate bleed to give this action by in these files. The only thing you have to pay attention of the creation of your bleed, in 99% of the cases, it will mirror the last 1 or 2 millimeters of the border of the document, which said, let's say if I mark here or look to my template here or my PowerPoint, it would say that he will mirror and add here on the right side about 2 millimeters left from that border to the right and inverse to the other one. So that I can do with no problem. But before I can do that on this part, I have to first crop my image because this one is on an A3. But I think these things are shown also on other webinars, how they can create or work with actions on that. But it's possible, it's doable. Even as you see here, I can do change the trim box, change, and then add bleed and set here, okay, what amount of bleed, how many to which border he will looking, and how many should I create, how many bleed I should create. That can be, yeah.
Now keep in mind that in pit stop you can look into this matter, because normally with your in focus pit stop he's going to look if there is additional image in your file with other applications, then he's going to take to extend the bleed, otherwise he's going to mirror it. But that is something that is not possible with Word documents.
Yep.
Now we have another question here. That's also a very important, very nice question. What's the best way to export the PDF and not get RGB images?
The only possibility is to import CMYK images. That's the only problem you have. The only thing what you then should do, and be sure in your Office, for instance, as you in your Word document, on the options we have here, then you have to take into account, let's say, yeah, it's not a color management system, but you have to take account here for the images. Then I should surely, yeah, I have to open a file. You see, I can't do anything if I don't have a file open. If I go now to here in my advanced settings, and I go back underneath here, You have here also the possibility to that high fidelity, and you do not compress the image in a file. That is important because I saw some things. If you do a compression, then he sets it's an RGB image, but even it was a CMYK image into your file. It can be an error, which is not ideal. That's why I don't do that. I let them compress them. He compresses as a JPEG normally, so then we don't have any problems on that part. And I use here at least 330 or high fidelity. But in that case, for the color file, yeah, you should use CMYK images in there. But honestly, I think on the market now, that's why when you reproduce digital or even print on presses, I must say we can't say that you have to have CMYK images. We accept really RGB images, and I think you will see that also in the standard that, as Carol mentioned in the webinar that David will give, that we accept RGB images now. We can't say you can't do it anymore. Well, because people are creating a lot of more things at home or themselves. And normally the most workflow systems and also digital printers have the possibility to reproduce or even RGB, sometimes in a better way than you give it to CMYK, because the conversion is ideal to the printer then.
Yeah, I have to agree with Koen. If you look into the workflows that most of the printers are using at the moment, RGB is accepted, and they are doing the conversion or in the ripping part or in the pre-flight part before they go on print. So RGB is at this moment not a big issue anymore to go to your printer. I think it's a very good idea to look into the webinar that we have made regarding pre-flight. And a lot of those issues are negotiated over there. So it's a very good webinar that you should see if you want to look into those problems. So Koen, at the moment, I do not see any more questions. Hopefully, I hope that everything is clear for everyone. So if you do have any questions regarding the conversion of Word documents and everything, please let us know, and we are going to give you an answer as soon as possible. Also, I want to mention that we have another webinar coming up, I think in December, with also the other application files to create PDFs out of this applications. It's also a very useful webinar, so I'd like to invite you to also follow this one.